welcome Mr. Bahram Vakil to this PW Legal World Dialogue. We're delighted that you're talking to us. I'd like to start by asking you, how have been your last 120 days? I know that your firm has been busy with some very big deals, but both on a professional and personal level, how have been the last 120 days?
So thank you so much. I mean, first of all, I want to thank you for this privilege and delighted to talk to all of you. I think, like anyone would say, it's been a unbelievably difficult last 120 days. Nothing that any of us could have imagined. And unfortunately, the situation is that there is still no visibility unless you can give me some visibility of how long this is going to go on. But as a firm, if I may say, we decided from day one that health comes first. I think this is a kind of false dichotomy between health and economics. If you don't solve the health issue, the economics is going to flounder. So you have to do both. No question, you have to help the SMEs and poorer people, I believe, first. But you have to also take care of the spread. So we've done the same thing on a very tiny scale at AZB. We've been very, very cautious. It's all work from home. And I'm very proud to say that from the first weekend itself, our IT system was, extremely robust, tested, and by God's grace, there's not been a single glitch in this entire period, which has allowed us to work as seamlessly as possible. I mean, all of us miss the camaraderie of an office, and I don't think that, this is going to go all online. I think, like everything in life, there has to be a balance, but it has been amazing. So our administrative staff and IT have done a fantastic job across all the cities.
Okay, I want to go to this fundamental thing you raised, this debate between lives and livelihood. It is a debate that has been going on for the last 4 months. And you rightly said, without saving and safeguarding lives, there's no livelihood. And we should focus on that. Now, the legal profession has become very evolved at a certain level. It has become very business-like at a certain level. But at the end of the day, legal professional is also a service. It is started as a service to help people. Tell me, are law firms and legal professionals able to balance the societal objectives of law being a service with law being a business?
Yeah, that's a amazingly tough question. I compliment you. But, just again, very, very quickly, to give you a perfect example, you put it so well, lives and livelihood. If you are not confident of the health issue, are you going to go to the restaurant? So we've all said that restaurants, retail, all this, the malls, you open them up. But if you're scared, you're not going to go. Travel and tourism has got hammered. Again, unless you are careful, feeling confident, will you get on the plane and fly? So that is inextricably linked. But I don't want to duck your very important question. In fact, it brings me to, I have to say I started my career in 1982. And at that time, it was very, very much a profession. In fact, my job is almost unrecognizable from what I did in 1982. I went to court at least 3 times a week. The largest law firm was 25, 30 lawyers. So it was very much a profession. There was corporate law, business law was hardly evolved at all. It must have been, a tiny percentage of every law firm. It was the traditional areas, mainly litigation, real estate, employment, some amount of capital markets. So I think you have morphed. And in some ways, if I had to be honest, maybe for a lot of firms who focus on commercial law as we do, maybe the pendulum has swung too much at the other level, because we should not forget that at the end of the day, we are a profession and we are professionals. So I think I will keep saying this through the interview, but a balance in life is always critical. You can't take a view that you will not be client friendly, client facing. Service means the client comes first, but you have to draw the line somewhere.
Okay. You studied in New York, in the Columbia University. You graduated in 82, 83. Then you started working for a very reputed law firm there. Now tell us, I keep saying that growth is a function of opportunity, is not necessarily a function of just talent. So tell us the kind of mentors, role models, seniors that you met both in your education and then in your first job in New York that helped you become the professional that you are.
Yeah, so absolutely spot on. Columbia and Debevoise, my years in New York, that was a fantastic learning experience. I have to say, New York in 1982 was a very hard place, especially the Columbia area. It was pretty dangerous, to be honest. So, for a kid coming from Bombay, it was growing up in a hurry. By the end of the year, if someone smashed a bottle while you were walking, you didn't even hear the bottle. You grew up that tough. So when I moved to San Francisco and someone said it's a tough neighborhood, for us it was like a joke once you had lived in on the outskirts of Harlem. Similarly, Columbia, as you said, there were professors that left a lifelong impression on you. There was Harvey Goldstein who taught me corporate law. I think he got the best professor in law school several years. He was a practicing attorney. And then there was Reese, who was very famous, and a whole bunch, corporate finance. So those guys had left an indelible impression. And Columbia itself, while it was academically super tough, I mean, it was, no holds barred, very competitive. No one would share notes with you, etc. Very New York style. It was also, top caliber. And I should thank them for my job at Debevoise, because the placement office asked me in the first week that I joined, would you like to work in America before you go back? And I said, I'm in two minds. So he replied, you be in two minds after you get a job. First, you make your CV. We'll help you make a CV. Start your interviews. And I had my job with Debevoise by God's grace before Thanksgiving. And that was all the Columbia push. Coming to Debevoise and Plimpton, again, top firm. The difference being that they were super in quality and they were a very kind, old-fashioned firm, very much like Little and Company. Just one example, Mr. Debevoise was at the door to receive me. I mean, you're talking about a 25, 26-year-old first-year associate walking in the door, and the name partner is standing at the door to meet him. That's the kind of graciousness of that firm. I was also the first Indian Debevoise had ever hired. So he said, I'm telling you this so you don't feel pressure, and started laughing. So, at that time, the number of Indian lawyers in New York, you could almost count on your fingertips. So that's how, I mean, we had that advantage, I guess. And Zia was 2 blocks away. So in some ways, we used to meet regularly for lunch, and the seed of AZB was kind of fermented there, thanks to New York.
Okay. After New York, you came and worked in Bombay in Little and Company, and you made a name for yourself. You became the youngest partner. So tell us about your days at Little and Company, and how did you become such a young partner, and what is your advice to young professionals who start out to become partners in big law firms? Mr. Vakil?
Yeah, so I can say that first of all, I should be honest that times are much more competitive now. As I said, it was a smaller firm. I mean, at that time, it was as large as the largest firm. The three dominating firms were Little, Crawford Bailey, and Mullah. Very, very family-oriented kind of firm. You know, when you're that few, it's a fantastic feeling. And we had the benefit of that. My four mentors, the question you asked me, were the senior partners there. Mr. Dara Mehta, he's still there, still practicing, the senior most partner. Mr. Govind Desai, a brilliant man. Mr. Jimmy Shroff and Mr. Ravi Kulkarni, who is a senior partner today at Khaitan. So from them, I learned the troika, which is so rare, that they are intellectually top class, integrity absolutely crucial, but also fantastic human beings. So that combination and the basic grounding, the basic values, the teaching from there, I mean, those 20 years were very, very memorable years of my life. And a lot of lessons I learned there, of course, I carried over to AZB.